Hello, my name is Isis Felder, and this is the Petition for Inflation or Minimum Wage. I'm going to tell you a little bit about inflation and how it affects you inside of your daily lives. Alabama and Georgia edition. So here are a little bit of facts just so you can, relate to inflation and understand what it is. Inflation is really just the increase of prices over time. So let's say in the 1950s you had a dollar that had the same buying power inside of 2017 is $10.23. And the same goes with Cleopatra. As you can see, 44 million turning into 300 million, which really, gives you a perspective about the things that are going on. So as you're going down, there's actually a calculator for you to see how much you can roughly make a year. And so most people make minimum wage, which is $7.50, which will give you about 15 grand. And if you're making $13 an hour, that'll give you about $26,000 a year. So that'll bring me to some of the typical annual pay per occupation. So generally, some people make different amounts, so you're getting different types of feedback from everyone, and you're going to be able to see the amount that people are making. So not a lot of people are into computers and mathematics, but if you're looking at something like maintenance, you're making about 26,000 a year, so it's about 13 and some change, not far from that. And then some people are making $26,000 with healthcare support, and just like it's a little bit more of a broadcast to show you some ideas of annual pay. So now we're moving on into different ranges of rent. This is really where I wanted to discuss um, some of the things that have been going on. So in 2020, the rent in Georgia went all the way up to $1,000.49, and the rent in Alabama went all the way up to $807 a year. So if you're not really familiar with how rent goes inside these states, you have to make 3 times the rent in order to apply and be eligible to get your apartment. So for people who are making minimum wage, you're barely making sufficient amount of money if you're making that amount of money at all. And you also have to think about like your occupation and things that are going on inside of your life, even if you want to make this step for the average amount. So these are an approximate use for yearly expenses. So you're going to need to make about 25,000 with no children, just you by yourself a year. And that's for Alabama. And for Georgia, you're going to need to make about $27,000 a year. So what I'd like to discuss with you inside of this part is that maybe we should reconsider the inflation amount that has been going on. As you notice, some people who used to pay $20 for gas are getting charged $40 for gas. And there has been a lot of fuss recently over the news and everywhere else about gas prices, and people are blaming Joe Biden for gas prices and other things that are going on. But I think that we should evaluate inflation that's going on inside the United States, because it's not just our states, it's other states as well. They just have different guidelines for their inflation and the cost of things. And if we can't fix those inflations, then it should be at least on par for a livable expense for minimum wage. Right now, some people are only making $15,000 a year, which is about $10,000 less than the average person should need with no children, just to be out there by themselves. And you also have to consider the fact that what are these people making monthly with $15,000 a year? Because you also have to make 3 times to get this done. And these costs aren't going to help you if you have children, because some people are single parents. Some people have plenty of loans. Some people have things to do for college. They're currently paying for all of these other sorts of things. And that's why I think we should really get going into making sure that all of these things are evaluated, because it's making it hard on to the average person to get these things done. And this brings us to things to look at whenever you're thinking about the reasons why you should even sign the petition into getting in with inflation. Because maybe your life is doing perfectly well. Some people make on average maybe $50,000, but what about the people who aren't doing well? You're looking at women and men who are single parents or even put together, and you're barely making enough to support one child. And people do things and then they have more children. So now we're trying to figure out what's going on. Why are so many children being taken away from their homes? And it's because they're not capable of surviving. The inflation rate goes up so high that you're not even capable of taking care of yourself, and then you already have children. This is making things even harder. So this brings me to my conclusion. I'm here to tell you that prices are going up in more than just Alabama and Georgia. It's going up all over the United States. And I would really hope that you would sign this petition today to get inflation evaluated or to get minimum wage to be raised, because maybe it doesn't affect you personally, but it is affecting yourself and the other people around you. And if you're trying to understand these things, I hope this video really helped you. Thank you so much. This is my credits that I used for this video.